Earlier I spoke with Dave Levinthal, the Communications Director with the Center for Responsive Politics, who has conducted extensive research on Toyota's relationship with Washington. I asked him what role domestic politics had in the day's hearings on Capitol Hill.
The United States government owns a stake in Ford. They own a stake in General Motors. Did that stake prompt this inquiry? Absolutely not. Had Toyota not had the safety problems that it has experienced, then this probably never would have happened. But now that we are at this point, now that we are at this juncture, certainly some automakers have very conflicting interests going on here. You have lawmakers who, for example, have stock ownership in Toyota. You have others who have General Motors plants in their districts or Ford plants in their districts. Others who have Toyota plants in their districts. So there's sort of this morass of money that's actually playing into what's going on here, and not all the time is it very clear exactly whose interests lie where.
But as a result, then, shouldn't the focus not be so much on Congress and the automakers, but on those who are overseeing the automakers and perhaps Congress and the relations, the regulatory bodies and so forth, who are keeping everyone honest and making sure safety comes first and not personal relationships and not pork barrel projects in different states and so forth?
And absolutely, some regulatory agencies are very much in the crosshairs right now when you have lawmakers who are saying, well, they dropped the ball, they didn't do their job, then the focus also becomes trained on them in addition to Toyota. And this is something that is not unique to just the auto industry. The aviation industry over the years has also been the target. Regulatory functions of the aviation industry have been the target of lawmakers' bane as well.
Right, but after decades, though, of lawmakers being rather reluctant to give regulators the teeth on a host of issues, from aviation and cars to for the financial industry to genetically modified foods and so forth, do we see that tide turning as each one of these industries comes up with problem after problem after problem because there is no effective oversight?
It's entirely possible, and unfortunately sometimes you have to have a tragedy, whether it's an airplane fall out of the sky or, in this case, accelerated pedals malfunctioning, to really train enough light on the problem, enough light on the situation to actually do something about it. And some of the regulatory agencies have made the argument that they simply just don't have enough money, they don't have enough resources or people to do their jobs.
Door. I mean, in this transportation and regulatory industry, there seems to be a revolving door between the auto industry and the regulatory industry.
Oftentimes there is, just like there's a revolving door many times in politics as well. It's important to note that Toyota, for example, is employing on its lobbying team a former member of Congress, former chiefs of staff of sitting U.S. senators, in addition to a Republican Party official and a few others.
This doesn't look good. When we talk about fundamental change after all these marvelous headlines, it doesn't look terribly good then, does it?
It doesn't, but you know, the story is not written yet on what's going on here. Again, the theatrical element is surely taking place right now, but 5 months, 6 months, 7 months down the road, we're going to have a much clearer picture as to whether Toyota does get off or Toyota is actually sanctioned in a way that causes this problem to be fixed and be solved.